Hi, good day. Welcome to CMS. We're still in the feasibility study. Let's talk today about how to deal with the landlord and what are the other options to deal with the landlord accordingly. First option we discussed already in last video by the sharing the sales revenue by a percentage between the developer against the landlord. Second option, it will be sharing the sales revenue by a percentage between the developer against revenue percentage for landlord and also refundable advance for him. The landlord asks you for the percentage of the total selling revenue plus refundable advance. What the meaning of refundable advance? He will take from you an amount now and it will be deducted from him after selling the units. Say we will agree for this and we will agree together an 80% for the developer and the landlord asks for a 15 million in advance as a refundable, so you will add it here in refundable advance. So you will find here that's your net revenue you will receive, and that's the total expense you will, if you will still work in the same marketing and selling plan. Let's see the report what will say. In this case, that's your negative cash flow in these 2 years. That's your IRR and NPV and the profit index, and that's the diagram to show the income and outgoing cash flow, and that's the diagram showing the required cash flow per month. According to this information, you will decide you will proceed with this project and with this condition with the landlord or not. Let's take another option for dealing with landlord. If he insists for 40% for him side, that means 60% for the developer. Let's see the report what will say. You will have IRR of 7.8, net present value is 11 million, and profitability index 1.02. If it's approved by the top management or according to the company policy, you will proceed for your project. Let's take another option. Let's go for option 3. If the landlord asks for revenue percentage and non-refundable advance and refundable advance, that means he asks you two advances, one to be refundable, one not to be refunded to you, plus percentage of the project revenue. How to deal with this? Let's keep those the same, and he will need another amount to be non-refundable. The non-refundable will be inserted here in this cell, purchase land price or non-refundable payment for the landlord. Suppose he asks for another 10 million as a non-refundable. In this case, you will have here the net total revenue for your side is 285 and your expense will be 306. If you check the report, you will find the net present value per minus, and the IRR is below the discount rate, must be at least above the discount rate, and the profitability index must be above 1. So in this case you will lose if you will proceed with your project with this condition. In this case you have to change the deal with the landlord and increase your percentage of profit. Let's try 70%. You have here the revenue more than the expenses. Let's check the profitability. You will find here IRR 12 and 12%, which is more than the discount rate. Net present value 13 million and 1.18 profitability index, which is above 1. If you agree for this percentage and this information, so we'll proceed with your project with these conditions. Let's take an example in case of a change of the discount rate. If your country have suppose 15% discount rate. What the meaning of discount rate? That's the common annual interest in your country banks. How will be the report in this case? The net present value is coming per minus, and IR is less than the discount rate, which is 15, and the profitability index now below 1. In this case, Why this happen? Why now we are losing? Because the discount rate is, your country is more, because you have now required capital with 132 million. This shall be either by loan or an amount have a finance charge. In this case, there is a rate or an interest in this amount. This must be considered in the internal rate of return and the net present value and the profitability index. So all this information is very important during design your project and decide the rates of your selling price, and decide how you will deal with your partner, which is the landlord. Of course, in this case, you have to change the agreement with the landlord and also find another solution by change the marketing plan or change the selling price or increase the sellable area. Here, when you pay for the landlord and refundable amount, this refundable amount can be paid for the landlord in advance or in installment. If it's in installment, you will add here the installment period. You will start maybe from month 1 till month 12 or from month 1 till month 6 according to the duration, which will give him his non-refundable amount. Also everything will change, and even this amount or this way of installment will change your IRR, or it will change your profit. If you check the report, you will find this number is changed. Instead of 31, it's come 30 million, only because of the how you paid the amount. Instead you paid in 12 months, you paid for 6 months, you have a lose here for 1 million. That's it. That's the business, and that's how CMS reflect all this data and reflect all this information and present it for you clearly and by very easy way for your site to make your decision. Let's go for the last option, which is purchasing the land plot by the developer. You are the developer and you come to purchase the land. In this case, you will have the 100%, no refundable amount, but there is a purchase amount for the land. How much you will purchase the land? This is very important. How you will decide or how you will agree for the price of the land. Say the landlord asks you for 100 million for his land. 100 million within 6 months. So he asks you to pay this 100 million within 6 months. So you have an installment, monthly installment, almost more than 16 million. You already have the installment and have the marketing plan and you have the selling price for your project. Without going for the report, your revenue is 367 million and your cost now is 404. So you will refuse the deal. Let's try 70 million. Now it's coming more, okay, and he also need the 70 million in 6 months. Let's go for the report and check. You have here too much amount you have to pay in the first year, because you will pay the full amount of the land in the first year. Let's go for the report. You have a good internal rate of return and 31 million net present value, and profitability index is more than 1. Your internal rate of return is more than the 5%, which is the common discount rate in the banks. You can agree for this if this numbers is satisfy your company policy. That was the 5 options how to deal with the landlord, how to decide how you will pay for the land. Only balance one thing: in case if the landlord asks you to pay the full amount in advance. If you put the mouse here, you can write here this step, insert in case of option 3 and 4 and 5, 3 and 4 and 5, which are related to amount to be paid for the landlord, either by refundable amount, non-refundable amount. In case of the non-refundable amount and purchasing of the plot or purchasing of the land, that's the 3, 4 and 5. In this case, if the landlord asks you to pay the full amount in advance, you have to add here the amount one time and check the report. now internal rate of return is come a little bit down, but if it's already accepted for your site or accepted for your company, so you will proceed accordingly. Here, as you see the graph, you need a big amount in the beginning of the project, which is the diagram of the expenses, the red color, and that's the required monthly cash flow during your project. That's how to make a feasibility study. After completing this and decide what you will do with the design and the selling plan and the rate of the selling and how to deal with the landlord, you have the full data and information and reports for printing. This all can be printed and presented and to discuss with your team. That's now for the feasibility study. By this feasibility study, we already finished all the steps before you start executing your project. All these steps 1, 2, 3, 4 are required before starting your project. The last one, which is the feasibility study, we inserted here in CMS to allow you confirm enhancement and how you will do this enhancement and improvement for your project, and to avoid any kind of risk or any kind of lose in the future. From the next videos, we'll start management and cost control for your project during your execution. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.